Hi everyone. Well, I think we'll make a start on this session just so that we can still finish on time. And just like to say, introduced earlier, but I'm Father Grant Naylor. I'm a member of the parish support team. I'm also parish priest of St Matthew's Carr Street in the city centre of Sheffield.
I'm Lizzie. I'm the development worker for St Matthew's Carver Street, St Catherine's Richmond Road, St Mary's Handsworth and St Peter's Hoyland, and together we're known as Holy Redeemer Mission Partnership.
So we just wanted to talk to you today about some of the ways in which we use social media, and we're not experts in any way, shape or form, but we're having a go, and we use a number of different platforms, both for the churches, as individuals, and also as a mission partnership as well now. So, first of all, the first way that we use social media is, I suppose, just to advertise, and it's got a bit more to say about that.
So, the social medias that we use at the moment are Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We use these all in different ways to target different people, but we do sometimes use the same platform for different purposes. So we use Facebook to communicate internally. So we've got some of our little social groups we message through there. To communicate externally, to reach out to other people in the community, and to get our brand out there and our presence known. And the purpose of advertising is a reminder to regulars, like our regular followers in the congregation, and attracting new interests, so local people who might have moved to the area looking for a church to go to or just space to visit. So we obviously share events and things that are coming up. There's an event coming up for the Mission Partnership soon, which was advertised, which is a teaching day. And we use both, we have the page for the Mission Partnership and a page for the parishes, and it means that at least someone shares our stuff, so we can share them across the different platforms, which is one of the easiest ways for us to get information from the churches to maybe a wider group of people as well. So we use a lot of posters at St Matthew's and in the partnership. We do use printed posters, especially around Christmas and Easter, like flyers and things. But the primary purpose of these posters is to use them online. So we've got a variety of posters there, because more people will see them online than actually pass them in the street. And it's easier to share an image rather than text, as was said earlier. It's more eye-catching and it's just quicker to see. So I normally design these 10 days to 2 weeks in advance before the event. I just use a simple image that relates to the season, so Christmas, like baubles, snowflakes, whatever. Publisher, I use Publisher or Photoshop if I'm creating graphics. And just simple text and not too much text, apart from loads of services, so like Christmas and Easter, they're normally the ones with the most text. But everything else is just short and snappy.
And what we've found
where you get your images from?
It depends. There's a website called Unsplash, which is really good for images. It's free. Unsplash.
Unsplash.
Yeah.
Unsplash.
So people, it's a bit like Flickr, but you don't have to like pay for these images or subscribe to them.
Okay.
Some of them I create myself, so I did the Easter one myself. This one there.
Yeah.
I do use some off the internet.
But just quickly, there's quite a lot of sites. There's Pixabay, Pexels, Unsplash, but there are lots more out there than there used to be.
There's a Christian image site as well. If you Google copyright-free Christian images, there are, I can't remember what it's called, but there are ones.
Some of the development workers use Poster My Wall, which you can use. You can pay a subscription for, but you can use free as well.
And Adobe Spark and Canva have got copyright-free ones built in as well. Have a look at those.
So one of the things that we've noticed with events is that often the hard copy posters need to be up a lot earlier, in a month in advance or whatnot. But actually, events and publicising them on social media the closer the event, you get much more interest, especially with younger people who never seem to commit to anything until 2 days in advance. I shared a frustration with the university chaplain the other day, and he was saying now they really and ah between whether to release a poster 10 days in advance or 7 days to be the key time to actually get anybody interested and committed to something. But we do find that obviously the use of these posters and images, we get, it's important to have hard copies around and in the church and in notice boards and whatnot, but actually many more people see them via social media. So social media is our new notice boards and most important notice boards actually. Sharing amongst networks, obviously we do share in different pages and we use hashtags and all the things that have been mentioned today, but I also just wanted to mention something about how it hasn't been mentioned too much, but we do use things like Facebook chat, and that's had a real impact on the number of volunteers and the lowering the age of volunteers. So somebody who's just taken on our soup run for the homeless, running that, which we participate in every month. The chap has set up a Facebook chat group, and now there's about 20 people that are in that group. Not everybody goes every month out on the soup run, but there's a massive group of volunteers now, and that's all been because people can just give a thumbs up to say whether they'll be there. It's a lot easier than having huge rows at the back. I know that that's not for everyone because not everybody's on Facebook, but it has made a huge difference to our communications using the tools that social media can give us. So we wondered whether just with the person next to you, whether just look at some of these questions. How do people find out about what's going on in your church? Where can non-church people find out about what's going on in your church? And how could you use social media to better communicate with both groups? So maybe just in twos with the person next to you, just for a couple of minutes, just to reflect on how people find out what's going on. I'm always very wary about stopping conversation, but I just wondered if would anybody like to just make a few comments on this, maybe how church people find out about events, how non-church people find out about events. Do feel free to comment.
We're kind of just kind of getting on board with social media, mainly because we haven't really had anyone who's either known enough about it or has been willing to do it on behalf of the church. So up until I put our first event on a couple of years ago, but we've only just a couple of months ago had a proper Facebook page because one of our congregation decided that, well, I think they were asked if they would do it. And now I just see there's a huge, I mean, literally just putting posters up is a million miles away from where we were 3 months ago. And before that, I was making events on my own account and just sharing it with people and hoping that they would share it on. Because I've already got half a dozen friends anyway, and I don't want to get into it. Because I don't want it to take over my life. But yeah, so I and even from that, I've just done an event for Remembrance, and that's now gone out through the Mosborough Community Forum, and it's gone out through this, that, and the other. And you just see, because I'm an administrator on our Facebook page, you see the statistics coming back, and that's something else I need to understand because I'm not in the community yet. But then you see all these people liking it and sharing it, and I've no idea who these people are.
I think that's a really good point, and also about an audience, about where things are getting to. That's a really good point.
We live in a village, and to be quite honest, there's nothing better than a big poster in our village. But we do have a magazine that goes out. But we do have a Facebook page, and we do have a website page, and we do use a church near you. So we try to spread as much as we can.
And I think one of the things you spoke about the Mosborough Community Forum, in villages that are often now really good online forums or whatever they are for Facebook pages. And I think that whilst the big poster is really good, a big poster you've got to walk past it. Almost every time, even older people, have got a little poster in their pocket, you know, or a big poster.
Yeah, but you're not a village person. Villagers work on a big poster.
Yeah.
But we get people from outside the village if we use social media.
And I think it's both and, isn't it? The one of the things that we've noticed is obviously church will find house boys events in church by the notices, which is usually the bit when I stand up or one of the church wardens stand up and everything glazes over. Now they start to think about coffee. Really just to reiterate the message, so often the messages that they've heard on Sunday we put again on social media. I always share that and retweet that. Obviously it's only my friends seeing it, but obviously there's a lot of members of the congregation and friends, so it's again a reminder, and so on and so forth. And we've got some examples of reminders in a bit. Where do non-church people find out about what's going on in the church? Well, obviously there's the notice boards, there's bits of information that we put out and whatnot. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about boosting and how we found that as a useful way to better communicate. Because this is something which we've only put a limited amount of money into, but it has started to make a difference. When you boost a post on most social media platforms, you can click a button which says boost and you have to pay them some money. And we've decided to do that a couple of times a year. You're able to target specific demographics, and so that might be demographics in terms of age or area or interest. You can even on Facebook target Sheffield Wednesday fans or whatever particular interest group is, or people that are attached to a university or whatnot. And it means that when they're going onto Facebook, they will see an advert with your advert on. And we can't afford to do this all year round. I mean, places like the Cathedral and whatnot do it all year round. We put 100 quid in at Easter and at Christmas. And so we just put 100 quid in at Easter and Christmas, and we always see a huge spike in the number of likes on the Facebook page and interest, because it's got a bit of money behind it, so more people are seeing the page. It can last as long as you want, so you can have it for a specific time period, or you can have it all year round. Let's say it's 20 quid to put into the system once a week, which helps get your post shared or your page shared as well. You can set a budget of how much you want. Specific times of year or events is what we do with it. Can boost posts, so the number of people that see your post can go up dramatically, and it can also promote the page. So we always find there's one time Christmas last year, we started off the Christmas season with about 600 likes on the page, and by the end of it we had 900. So we've gone up by 300 people that had liked our page and therefore see our posts when it comes on. So Christmas was one of them. That was £30 for a post engagement. It was the ad ran for 10 days, and 2,509 people saw it. 159 people engaged with it, and we had our biggest Christmas carol service that year for a long time. Just the largest round of people there. Don't know how many came from the Facebook post. We don't have those stats. But we think that it did make a difference.
So what did 30 quid actually buy you?
It bought us 10 days of a certain amount of post sharing from Facebook. So for people within, I think, a 7-mile radius of the church could occasionally see that. Now obviously the more money you put in, probably the more it's there when people go onto Facebook. So it's probably not a massive amount that we got for that in terms of it constantly being up there. But it did make a difference, as you see, with the amount of engagement with the post. So it made a real difference.
It speeds things up basically, doesn't it? If you pay more, then Facebook will push your post higher on more people's feeds that wouldn't normally see it. So it's a speeder upper. You can do it organically and get more and more people to share it, and it slowly grows. But a paid ad could, boost the number of likes to your page, and then you've got those people. Those people don't often unlike pages unless they get annoyed by them. But it builds a following faster.
We actually managed to double the number of people coming to our own older people's group, and it's only for people over 55 because I paid to boost it. And we doubled the number, and they said, why is all these people? And I said, they've seen us on Facebook. And they said that when they came and seen on Facebook, so we could attract.
Sometimes when you post on, it'll come up, you can boost this post for so much. And sometimes they're quite small amounts. And I have wondered what we would actually get for it.
Well, the £15 I spent was worth it.
I think you can give it a go, even if you put a fiver in.
Yeah, well, that's what we were wondering, you know. It's only a few months ago that we started with a Facebook page. I mean, obviously, me and my daughter have a personal Facebook. But we started it just for our Messy Church group. I guess really we're dipping our toes in it to see how it works before we sort of say, right, as a church we've got it, because it'll drop on us to be responsible for it. Quite honestly, at the minute, we don't want to make that commitment. But yesterday, I mean, our Messy Church group is very small, really small numbers. But yesterday, we found a new like came up, notification, new like, for the Facebook page. And it's somebody who, they have a connection with church in that about 12 months ago they had a baby baptised. But they've obviously found the Facebook page to like it. They're not on our Facebook pages, so it's nobody connected with us. So it has done it, and we were sort of going, oh yeah. It's only one, but it's one that we haven't had.
That's great.
So if they've liked that, could you then send them a message?
It is possible, it might just be a bit creepy.
Well, I was going to say,
Straight on.
Just notice this, you'd be very welcome.
we thought that, but you can't. Can you do that from a like?
You can.
I just wasn't sure as well.
Hover over that like and it'll show you.
The thing is, it's like the person who comes into church just to see what it's like. And then 50 people say, oh hello, it's nice to see you.
You've got to think through the same sensitivities as if something it might just be difficult to, if you immediately get a message, there's your standing order form. But no, it is possible.
So this graph just shows briefly the timeline from December last year, so obviously that's Christmas, and then March was Easter time, which is when we boosted a post, and then we've got a bit of a peak in September, which is when we had our Patronal. We're very well known in Anglo-Catholic circles, so putting on a good do. We didn't actually boost anything this time, but we had loads of photographs, loads of sharing, so that's probably why the interaction was so high.
You should tell them this food. You get
On this food.
So
Free food.
So you say your Catholic evangelism lecture, because that attracts quite a lot.
it does, And so previously we showed a boosted post. This is just boosting the actual page. So this is an example here of an actual advert on Facebook. So it says suggested page, St Matthew's Church, and it says sponsored underneath. Sunday Mass 11 AM, even so 5 PM, 7 past 6 PM, all welcome. And so that's just an example of an advert of just boosting the page. So you can boost a post, which might be, this Christmas come and join us for carol service, or you can boost a page and people say, oh, St Matthew's Church, Sheffield. So you can do two things. You can boost the post, i.e., Messy Church happens here, or you can boost a page saying this is St Matthew's Church.
So just to clarify that, say there's a carol service I wanted to boost, and I could then select a 7-mile radius around the church.
So first of all, write a post, set up a post, and then at the bottom of that post, as you set up that post, it says, do you want to boost the post? And you click that button, and then it will give you a range of options. So the area that you want to advertise in, the demographics that you want to advertise, so you can separate that into ages or interests, and then you set a budget and put your credit card details in, and built at the moment with your advert. So it's really easy. It's just positive building a boost, and actually building a post, and actually even after you've set up a post, you can then later on decide, actually that post has got a bit of interest, maybe we should boost that. So you can do that later on as well.
It does sort of give you a kick if you boosted once to do it again.
So, just some things maybe to think about when thinking about sharing stories.
So we wanted you to just discuss your tables for a few minutes. What stories do you want to share on social media? These can be stories about congregation members, the local community. What's the news from your church? Maybe someone is like passed a music exam with a child or something. Maybe someone's got into uni. And heritage as well. Lots of churches are known for their heritage. Is there anything that you want to share that you're proud of in your church that's going to be linked to heritage? And local interest. What stories are important to your community? So at St Matthew's we are connected to the Moor Market, so we often have a chapel there at Christmas and Easter, and Father goes down with some other congregation members to go and support them, and we like sharing like events and things. So just a few minutes, just have a little chat amongst yourselves.
Okay, so we're just going to as we come back, we're just going to share a few different stories and news that we've shared over our time recently, and we sort of use these sharing of stories or advertising and whatnot in different ways. Sometimes actually, one of the ways that we've found has been surprising to us, what people connect with, especially younger people via Instagram, has been actually spirituality. So sometimes it's not the event, it's not even the sort of secular side of the story, but actually just a religious image. People have really connected with that very powerfully, or an exhortation to pray, or something from scripture. But then also looking at how we've shared heritage stories and community stories as well, and created some interest.
So this is one of the churches in the partnership, St Peter's Hoyland, which is a small church in the village really, and they are getting their organ rebuilt, and I thought, I think the people of Facebook would like to see the organ being distributed all over the church. So I got the church warden to send me photos. We've got some of the pipes being dismantled, and then the floor is being redone as well, so there was a big hole in the floor. And I did share that on Facebook, and people were quite concerned, especially as there was a wedding the weekend after. So I had to put a picture saying, the church is all back to normal now, it's fine. And they had a visitor from Penistone, who that quote is from, who said that he wouldn't have known that the organ would have been rebuilt had he not seen it on Facebook. So it's quite good to see that people do actually read these things or are interested. And I just saw this. I was kind of taking a gamble with this. But I was inspired by someone in another diocese who are getting their bells taken out, and they managed to like make national news and everything. So I thought, why not give it a go? And it's been quite successful. Another example of this is we were the second parish in the country, I think, to use the maintenance book programme from National Churches Trust last year. And I saw that National Parish Buying had tweeted saying, I think it was St Augustine's Encliffe or something, had their gutters cleared out one day, and I thought, the second thing is taking place at Carver Street, and then that influenced them to actually contact our church warden and interview him, which I didn't know about until recently.
So Don's quite famous now, is taking bookings for YouTube channels, national churches, just on that type of thing. So it was just a nice way to connect with other organisations as well, which we found. And we also find that with Twitter, we use that more with local businesses. So for example, if we've got on Thursday a celebration of the Eucharist where we're going to be praying for I don't know, one of the Taco Bell along Division Street or something, then we'll tag them in that, and we've had some really warm responses, even things like when we offer the Mass for the council or whatnot. It's just a way of making a direct contact with their conference teams, and they have to come back to us and thank us for that as well. So it's been a good way to reach out. I'm just going to go through some posts now and different types of things that we've connected with. So this was something which got a lot of interactions over time. This was just on the end of a Sunday, and there were a lot of candles left at the shrine of Mary in church, and we just said on Sundays many prayers are left at Our Lady's feet, and a lot of people connected with that on different social media formats over time. This got a lot of interest. Father Charles, who is alongside the priest in the diocese, celebrated his 90th birthday at church, and so that was nice because there were some family photographs and lots of people connected from his family, but wider as well, and it got picked up by the Sheffield Star. Just something early one morning, we just put a scripture verse that was on the 13th of October, and just a picture of the high altar for people starting the day, and a lot of people again were interested in that. So I think don't be afraid either to be churchy, to be religious, to be spiritual, because a lot of those things, kind of hashtag Monday motivation, can be people looking for inspiration. So let's give them something of the gospel, and also trying to connect with things that are happening which have a wider reach. So Oscar Romero's canonisation happened a couple of Sundays ago. It was on the national news, and that was something which there's a lot of interest around, and a lot of people picking up on those hashtags. Some heritage, we had some candlesticks restored, and so whenever we do anything like that, we just try to put some pictures up of it and generate some news interest. And on the back of this, because they're a war memorial, we're also putting out a press release to generate some interest around Remembrance Sunday, so trying to connect up with things. And then also a sort of definitely a reiteration of the notices. So instead of those moments when everybody glazes over at the end of church, to try and see that messages are reinforced. So this is following on from our Giving Sunday, to remind people to think about the giving, to thank them, but also to remind them to renew the standing orders as well. And then just celebrating after events, try to put pictures up after events. If we're advertising for them, when do people ever get to see what actually happened? So that was a pizza and prosecco night for students. That was the animal service, which basically there's no need for the boober scoops afterwards. So that was a relief. I'm really not like massively. I wouldn't have come up with this type of thing anyway. And it was some traditions that said, "Oh, it'd be really nice to see in Francis Day to have a pet service," and I thought, "Oh my word, don't work with kids or animals." And actually, people go wild on social media for it was incredible.
They're lovely animals.
And so that was really good. And then this is just something from yesterday, which 2 days ago, which got picked up massively. So it's a bit of our heritage, also a bit about the church, but also I suppose about social action. It was St. Crispin's Day. St. Crispin makes shoes. He's the patron saint of shoemakers. We have a statue up on the rear of us, and Father Romney, who was one of my predecessors, had a shoemaker in his employment to make shoes for the displaced children in Victorian Sheffield. So when he watched children who after school in the morning without shoes, the bootmaker would make shoes for them. And so it's just a lovely thing, and got picked up on all sorts of channels really, so that was quite jolly. Okay, so that's it. Sorry this is fast paced, but we just want to keep things on time.
So our next steps are...
Sorry, do you want to go back?
Yes, fine. So we're starting to use Instagram as a way of connecting with people. It's a really good way of sharing events, and it's quick as well. You just need to scroll and then someone's seen your post or your event. More young people are on it, and one of our primary audiences, being a city centre church, is young people. And the Church of England has also said it's a great place to show the personality of your church, who attends and what kind of events or services you offer. So we share a variety of things. That's a little glimpse of our Instagram page a few weeks ago. So we sometimes put our posters on there. And then we've started doing a meditation course on Tuesday evenings. So I put the poster on there, I think the first week we did it. And then the latest picture, which you might recognise in Thy Kingdom Come, And I think I just put something like, come and join us in the quiet of the evening as we meditate together. And that got lots of likes as well. Instagram's very open and accessible, and you can also follow like-minded accounts and like their posts, and then hopefully they'll reciprocate. They normally do. And then you can use hashtags, so you're able to search through these, and you can use them, especially locations as well, which is good, so you can find similar things going on. So this is an example of St Barnabas, Tunbridge Wells, who are renowned for their Instagram, and St Bennet Fink as well. They've been picked up by the Church of England for their really good Instagram page. So they said to use aesthetically pleasing images. So we've got sun streaming through the window as evensong being said, or post-service canapes, because everyone loves a food picture on Instagram. So we're going to start looking at using hashtags, especially at our Patronal, because we have a procession in the street, and that captures a lot of people's eyes. So I suggested next year, if we have someone holding a sign, probably me, saying hashtag Harbour Street or something, we'll hope that people will engage and like share pictures on Instagram or Snapchat or what have you, and then we'll be able to see who's connecting with us and then hopefully connect with them as well.
More hashtag that.
And apparently, and research says that posts with 11 hashtags perform the best. So
11 hashtags?
yeah, it's quite a lot.
Post with 11 hashtags on Instagram, how do you do best?
11 on
Yeah.
Instagram, yeah, and 3 on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we feel that we're still new to a lot of this, especially with Instagram, but we're giving it a go. And I think that we have found that certainly with just getting messages across both to members of the congregation and other people, it has started to get our message out there. Things like special events, we have seen an upturn in people turning out to them, and maybe that's just because they've been barraged by post after post and reminder after reminder, but I'd just say it's worth giving it a go and trying different formats for different things. In our experience, we found that these are some handy tips. So we'd say to post pictures and stories, and people really like a story. We'd like to start to explore maybe videos and get members of the congregation to tell some of their story maybe, just to bring a bit of personality to it. To advertise at least 2 weeks in advance, to use boosting at peak times, to post at times when people are idle. That often means when they first wake up in the morning, lunchtime, and in the evening. And we actually find, I don't know what the evidence bears this out, but actually we find after Sunday is quite a good time. So Sunday evening is a really nice time to, especially one of those sort of spiritual posts, to just sort of recap the day. People often pick up on things on a Sunday evening. And to use different platforms for different things, like Twitter to connect with local businesses, so on and so forth. So there are 2 videos now, one from Hannah Radioff, who's one of the Centenary Project workers in the Diocese, and one from Alan Price, who's the maker of Wellbeing Animals. Will you just go straight into these videos? Okay, so we can just excuse them.
Social media for my church. Recently we've started to use Instagram more, and we're finding that in particular young people, including myself, prefer to use Instagram over any of the other social media networks, and I think that's just because it's really quick and accessible. So for people looking at it, but also for me uploading things, so I can take a picture on my phone, following safeguarding rules of course, and then I can upload it almost instantly. And we make use of the tags. So we put in that the picture was taken at Finley Church, and we can also click on that and see the photos that other people have shared. So we see a lot of baptism pictures and wedding pictures on there, which is really nice. And we also use hashtags, so hashtag Finley Church, hashtag Doncaster, so people who are searching that can see what we're up to. And I feel like it also breaks down the barriers with people in showing what we're up to as a church, all the events and the services. And it requires no effort to look at a photograph. It's a lot easier than reading a lot of text, and it's pretty instant.
Hi there, I'm Reverend Harlan Price, and I'm the vicar in Bolby, Leversall and Wadworth, in the great town of Doncaster. I really believe in Christ's command to go and make disciples of all nations. And the word nations could easily be understood as tribes. And so I want to make disciples of all tribes. And that means that we need to be able to engage with all tribes. Now, Instagram is a tribe. So to engage with the tribe of Instagram, I need to be on Instagram, understand Instagram and how it operates and how it works. There are people I engage with on Instagram who are not on Facebook and they're not on Twitter. They are only on Instagram. And those on Facebook and Twitter engage differently on Instagram. The church engaged in the 15th century with the printing press. It saw the value in this new technology in connecting people to the gospel. Instagram is part of the 21st century printing press. Engage. Go and make disciples of all tribes.